y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a look at the Metropolis collection that's available right now from Cirque Colors. These are available both online and at select retailers, and they were sent to me for review. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into the swatches. So first up is a Madison, and this polish is described as a light beige cream with peach undertone. So this is a very light nude, almost kind of almond shaded, and a gorgeous cream formula. So I'll go ahead and show you a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Madison swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. I do find all of these creams to be really easy to use. They are a little bit on the thinner side, but I had no problems getting good control over them. I do recommend going in for slightly thinner coats. However, they are super close to being completely opaque. So if you wanted to go in for maybe a thicker, really careful one coat, you could totally get these to be full coverage in just one coat. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this built up for me with the second coat. It does bring this polish completely opaque for me. It also did an amazing job at self-leveling. These do dry down fairly glossy, but I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat to help extend that wear time a little bit. So here's a look at that completed mani. I had two coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same artificial lighting. So next up is Coffee Talk, and this is described as a mocha brown cream. So this is a little bit earthier of a nude. It is a little bit deeper, and it does shift over to that brown edge of the spectrum. So this is another gorgeous cream formula. There's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Coffee Talk swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This is another one that's super close to just being completely opaque in that first pass. I did have maybe a flash of nail line towards the tips, and also I needed to clean up the application around my cuticle and sidewall a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how it built up for me with a second coat. It does for sure bring this polish completely opaque. I'm thinking that these would be good contenders for stamping as well because they are so super opaque and also a little bit on the thinner side. So here's a look at that completed mani at two coats before glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same artificial lighting. So next up is Spotted in Soho, and this is simply described as a rose coral cream. It is a little bit brighter on the nail, but still really easy to wear. It's not quite neon, still a little bit more on the classy side. So I'll go ahead and show you a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Spotted in Soho swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. I did end up going in a little bit thicker with this first coat, and it is completely opaque in just one. I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat, let it dry, and show you how it built up for me with the second, just for contingency's sake. I think I did two coats for all of the rest of the polishes in this collection. Spoiler alert. So here's a quick look at that second coat. It does for sure make sure that it's completely opaque. I had no issues with this polish, and it is absolutely stunning. I think this is going to be a good one to wear just all year round. It does have those bright tones, but it's still a little bit understated to get you through the winter and kind of just cheer up your day. So here's a look at that completed mani at two coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same artificial lighting. So this next polish is a Red Hook, and this is described as a rich brick red cream. It does seem to have almost terracotta or orange tones in there for me, very earthy, and it is definitely one of my top picks. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Red Hook swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. Again, this one is super creamy, very opaque. I think that this is one that you could for sure get opaque in one coat. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it looks at two today, but with a careful one coat, this could totally be a one coat polish. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat, let it dry, and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. This polish does dry down a little bit darker than it applies, which I love. It brings it just a little bit more deeper, a little bit more earthy. Two coats for sure does bring this polish completely opaque. Honestly, I'm not even sure why I thinned that second coat because it was pretty much full coverage in just one. So here's a look at that completed mani at two coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle or that same artificial lighting. So next up is Urbanized, and this is one of my top picks, just almost strictly on the formula alone. I know that yellows can be a little bit tricky. This one is described as a spicy mustard yellow cream, very fall appropriate. It's a little bit deeper than a rubber duck type yellow, almost like a rain jacket yellow, and I'm totally in love with it. So there's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Urbanized swatched on my natural nail. I could not believe the coverage of this cream. It is really opaque, almost full coverage at one coat. It was just maybe a little bit shy, a little bit streaky. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat and then show you how it built up for me with with a second. So here's a quick look at that second coat. I did go in for just a nice and normal second coat, and it easily brought this polish completely opaque. I am wearing my Cutica base coat, so I'm not sure about staining with this one. I know that yellows can be a little bit tricky like that sometimes, so I do recommend using your favorite stain blocking base coat. But here's a look at that completed mani. Add 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same artificial lighting. So next up is Sartorial, and this is described as a sweet lilac cream. So this is such a brightening and light color, really made me happy with it on the nails, and it does have another fabulous formula. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Sartorial swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. Again, just amazing coverage with these creams. They're very user-friendly, very easy to apply. They're not really too thick or too thin. One coat is just shy of being completely opaque, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. This second coat does bring this polish to complete opacity with no issues or problems. Again, it's self-leveled amazing, and it does dry down a fairly glossy. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat and then give you a look at that completed mani. So here's a look at my final mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Again, I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat, but a matte would be a really cool spin on it as well. This is my final swatch photo at an angle under that artificial lighting. And that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Metropolis collection by Cirque Colors. I do have more swatches coming from Cirque super soon, so stay tuned if you're interested in that, especially in shimmers and hollows. If you'd like to see any more photos of any of the polishes featured here today, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.